What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is a very wonderful Hump Day Wednesday today. We got the start of big tech earnings, so we'll kind of briefly go through some of that stuff. But here's a quick look at the Qs. I know starting with the Qs today, big tech, earnings. A little bit of a gap down, nice little trade low over the first 15 minutes, nice little bounce. We did get neutral, a little bit positive there very briefly before we had a little bit of a rollover here past 45 minutes. Currently down about 0.25%. The SPY kind of followed the same pattern. A little bit of gap down, nice little sell down there first 15 minutes, but nice little run back up to basically yesterday's high. We did actually take out yesterday's high very, very quickly about 20 minutes ago before we started a little bit of a pullback there. So that is kind of what's going on with the Qs and the SPY. Nice run here on the IWM. A little bit of a gap down, but it ran very strongly there. First 45 minutes or so. Past 45 minutes, nice little pullback. DIA, nice little pullback. Start the day, nice little pop there on the start of the day's first 45 minutes. Past 45 minutes, nice little choppy pullback into the moving averages. Kind of come up there on the 5-minute time frame. RSP, nice little gap down, nice little trade higher there. First 45 minutes as well. Pull back here past 45 minutes. Okay. So the RSP, this thing is definitely want to see by today, by the end of the day, and this might not be a bad trade, is you definitely want to see this thing close towards the highs of today, what it's at least already put in, because that gap down was on the danger zone this morning. So if we trade back down and close kind of at the lower ends of the day there on the RSP, might not be a bad one to maybe even look at a little bit of a bearish play, because that would be a really nasty upper wick that would come in there on the daily. So I would keep an eye on the RSP by the end of the day. If we get back down to the lows of the day, kind of where we opened, I would probably be a little bit more willing to be bearish on that. And I know yesterday we kind of talked about the possibility of this pretty good consolidation over the past week, maybe looking to go bullish. But if we have this kind of an upper wick that comes in today, I would just rather be bearish on it. DIA, kind of the same thing. We're having a really hard time getting through this 10 and 20 moving average coming down. So that's just kind of a tough one. If we get back down to the lows of the day, I would probably the same thing with the RSP. IWM though, looking pretty good. I still think we'll probably just be a little bit more choppy. I don't think we're just going to absolutely rip out of here yet. And even if we do, we'll probably be able to retest into this 226 level. You can pick it up then. But I think it's probably just going to be a little bit more choppy. Probably just hanging out, not really doing a whole lot. Not until it gets to that's kind of resistance level around 226 or so. The Qs. So the Qs, a little bit more of a sell-off this morning than I guess some of the other markets. Interesting. I'd say be curious to see what happens by the end of the day. I mean, it's still just kind of like slowly grinding above the 10 EMA there on the daily time frame. It hasn't taken out the all-time highs that we put in back in July. And the SPY looking like it's going to try and push higher. So, yeah, if we get some sell-offs by the end of the day, things might not be setting up well going into tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure everybody's trying to gleam over as much of the Alphabet earnings as possible. So yeah, we did have Alphabet earnings. They did a lot better than what I thought they were going to. Revenue grew 2%. Earnings grew 15%. So very nice, solid beat there on Alphabet earnings. You can see the earnings are continuing to grow. Revenue, growing, but not as obvious as earnings is growing. So okay, so they're just being more efficient with the business. So they just might be definitely using a lot more of AI tools to kind of help streamline things, which is kind of interesting. AMD also had earnings. So this is where kind of the disappointment was. Why are we not up like 5% on the market? I mean, maybe just 1% on the market. Well, it's because AMD came out and didn't really say a whole lot of greatness. They did beat revenue by about 1.5%, but they missed earnings, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it was forecasted to be a pretty good earnings pop. Obviously, you know, we see a pretty good earnings pop there for this quarter that was expected, and even next quarter expected to be another pretty good earnings pop. So they're finally seeing a little bit more of that earnings growth that Nvidia's been having for a while. As far as the VIX, still just kind of hanging on here. Not really doing really anything. I mean, it's pretty much just flat, not really doing a whole lot. The DXY dollar index, yep, that's just in the consolidation area. All right, kind of just retested into that 10 EMA today. All right, GLD Gold Trust continuing higher. That looks pretty good. The 10-year yield. Yesterday it was looking really good. I think it was probably about where the high was yesterday. Let me go to an hourly time frame. Yeah, yep, about where the high was yesterday. Since then, it kind of pulled back until this morning. I saw it this morning. It was down a decent amount. Here about an hour and a half ago or so. You can see it definitely bouncing pretty good here. So, looks like it got that renewed bounce there off of the moving averages coming up. Okay. 10 and 2 inversion. You can see a nice little drop there. So that would mean the 2-year did pretty well today. So there's a look at the 2-year. Nice little pop there on the 2-year off that 10 EMA. HYG, yeah, you can see that nice little upper wick. Yesterday, we definitely were not even close to being up towards these highs where we put in over the past couple of days. We were under that 50 EMA, so it just kind of tells you how much the bonds prices rallied with how much yields dropped off yesterday afternoon or going into the latter part of the day yesterday. I think you'll probably be okay. Maybe still being bearish here on bonds prices. As far as the LQD, yeah, nice little quick snapback from yesterday's gap down all the way up to the 10 EMA today. Nice little upper wick, nice little drop off. Basically flat on the day, but some pretty good gaps here over the past 2 days. Same thing here with the TLT from yesterday's gap down. Nice little retest today all the way up into that 10 EMA and dropping off there. As far as the sector rotation on the day, we got communications outperforming the most. Makes sense. Alphabet earnings, financials doing pretty well, materials, energies doing pretty good, discretionaries also outperforming, real estate outperforming a little bit there, industrials underperforming, staples underperforming, utilities, healthcare as well, tech big underperformer. So as far as the daily goes, you got Alphabet doing well, you got AMD not doing well. The other one that not really doing well, and I saw this yesterday afternoon, is AAPL, Apple. So don't know what happened with them, but they didn't have earnings. They'll have earnings here in a couple days, but they got hit yesterday after the bell as well, so I don't know what that was pertaining to. As far as the intraday price action, you see healthcare, nice little run here over the past 20, 30 minutes or so. Definitely doing pretty good there on the intraday. Financials, industrials, materials outperforming, as well as real estate, energies, and discretionaries. A little bit of outperformance on the intraday. Underperformers are kind of in line with the market there is staples. Underperformers is tech a little bit, communications a little bit. So communications, even though, you know, Alphabet had that huge gap up, not doing as much intraday. So communications giving it back some there intraday. Utilities, big underperformer intraday. Okay.